Welcome to She is the Boss podcast. I am your host, Kelli Bos, sharing my life story for your life story. Joining you today on a Sunday morning from Boston, little nippy, hence the hat, but it's not cold enough to turn the heat on yet. And I'm outside in my studio, so having a little bit of best of both worlds of coming off the rain a little bit from yesterday and able to look outside and enjoy that, but be inside and come right here and bring some stuff to you. So, my life story for your life story, right? Okay, so I have one for you. And they're true stories. So I'm sharing stuff, my true stuff, right? And hopefully something I say will help you along your life's journey. So we were having this conversation about um and this I'm going to use the exact instance that it was. So you have to apply this the way you need to in your life or situation if you want to, right? So I was talking about with my daughter about parent or parenting, all right? But we were talking about certain people within our family or that we know that have some issues with their parents, put it that way, right? Let's know that's what it was, all right? Now, this is a little tough, okay? Because it's not tough for me to tell the story. I'm also being very sensitive and mindful of the trigger this may be for others. So if you put your uh, ears on and hear this as it's my story, my true story, and take from it what you need. By no means am I telling you you have to do anything, take anything, but I'm sharing my story. Okay, so let's get that out the way because I think that will stop or make sure that we don't have all the negative judgmental comments or thinking that I'm judgmental. I'm just sharing my story, right? And so that's my life. You can't argue with that. All right. So so Dale and his dad and I were talking, and we had a little conversation about children, right? Um, and why another child, I'm going down there, aren't I? Another child, is not speaking to him. Okay, it's not my child from another family member. Not another family. Oh Lord, oh no, this ain't that. This ain't Peyton's place, honey. No, it's not from another family member. It's from his wife. Okay, previous wife. Let me get this story right. I think the problem is I'm skirting too much, trying to be careful what I say. So I'm not. We're gonna stop right here, and I'm not. So we were having a conversation about why his other daughter is not speaking to him, and then we were saying that she was looking for an apology. And so he started his conversation off with, yeah, but me and her mom, she has to understand. And I said, no, she doesn't need to understand what happened with you and her mother. So I gave the analogy just like this because we were talking on video chat. I said, so here's you, right? And then here is your ex wife, and here is your daughter. Y'all didn't work out. What they got to do with her, right? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, let's keep these little stick figures here, my hand figures, right? We all understand, maybe we don't, but we're going to learn today that there are people, right? There are women, mothers, that will influence that child, okay? About the individual, okay? And that's tough and it does suck, but it happens, right? But we're not talking about babies, honey, no more. We're talking about grown folks, all right? So, here's him and these two, the ex-wife and stuff, they've parted ways. Everybody's gone on. Years have went by, honey. Years. These are not babies. We have grandchildren now. So, okay, all right, I'm telling you how old the story is. So they are gone. That's over. Behind. We still have this child over here having an issue here. Why? I don't know. I don't know all those details, right? But it didn't matter what those details were. What I said to him was, you need to start your conversation off adult, parent, grown up. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I didn't do anything wrong. We are not dealing with folk in the street, people from the block, your boys, your homegirl. We're not, no, we're dealing with your child, your offspring, your direct descendant, blood of your blood, started off with, I'm sorry, because she's the one that's having the issue, for lack of a better word, right, with you. And you need to start off by saying that I am sorry and tell her the truth. I was young. I was a young parent. I was immature. I was even self involved. No, I did not stick around because of the issue that I had with your mother over here. I did not. And yes, I did start another family someplace else. And yes, it may have appeared that I was, singing Christmas carols around the Christmas tree with that family, but little do you know, it wasn't like that either. So maybe I am just not, really the best at this dad thing, but I'm trying. And especially because I'm older, and especially because all these things have happened in my life and my health is failing and blah, blah, so I'm trying. Okay, here we go. Then I say, well, she may not respond in that very moment, and that is okay because she blocked him, right? So, but then one would say, well, how's he supposed to be taught? How he supposed to reach out to her? Didn't I say that's the parent and that's the child? No matter how old they are, they're still going to be the parent and the child, and the parent's still going to always be older than the child. So, okay, so we go. So I said, still send it, or send it through your other daughter, Danielle. Let her send it, right? Okay. So, but you did your part. You're doing your part, right? Um, Send her cards, right? Well, I don't have her address. Okay, well, that's fine. Send it through your other daughter, to get it to her, right? At least you're making an effort, all right? Because she's hurt, and she's expressed this, that she is hurt, and that you or he has hurt her, because she felt like she was slighted a father, and the other daughters had a dad, right? And then we moved on into the conversation about parenting. So I prefaced with all of that to tell you how my daughter and I got down the rabbit hole of parenting. And she said, Mom, you should really talk about this on your podcast, because there's some things you just said that helped me that I didn't think about it like that. So maybe people just don't see it in that light. So with that being said, I said to him, sorry, I told you I'm outside, right? So I'm keep watching my dogs. I have two German shepherds, so I'm just making sure they acting right. So I said to her, she says, well, we talk about another family member, and they had issues, with their mom, because they felt like their mom left, and they went on with their life, and they left them with their grandparent, and they were just having this marvelous life and career in another state. And I said, yeah. I said they were. And I said, this woman, she was young. She had a child very, very young, right? And so, she went on with her career, her life, and the child was with who she thought the best person on the planet to leave her with is her mother, right? And no, she didn't do all the things that, as we are older, think that she should have done. Maybe she didn't send enough money, maybe she didn't send enough clothes, maybe she didn't send none of that, right? But did we forget at that time she was 16, 17, 18, she was young, 19, 20, 24, and then she goes and she's living in this beautiful state, sunshine state, and doing her thing. And she's this, hey, last thing you were worried about is a child, because, well, first of all, your mama got it. So, you feeling real good. You raised me, you got to be all right. But all these years later, and again, these are old stories, because we grandparents now. Shoot, the girl, we talking about the other grandparents now, honey, right? So, but the thing is that there's still hurt there, because it was like, well, where did you go when you left me, and then you met somebody, and then you were taking care of their children? Well, no, what happened was people grow up, and life changes, right? And we learn and we know better, right? And we're like, wow, yeah, well, I'm with this individual, and they have kids, and I'm doing my best to be, a cohesive one family, and but the other person is hanging on to what they didn't do when they were a child. And I'm not saying that's a wrong thing to do. Clearly there is some communication and some breakdown there that needs to happen. But not only is there communication and breakdown in that situation, everybody has to be open to receive what the other person is saying, right? And you don't have to forgive at that second. It would behoove you to get forgiveness going on. I'll tell you about that in a little bit because you just harboring on the mess that is just not even good for you. Because ultimately, this is your life. This has nothing to do with all these other people in your life. It's your life. It's your life. It's your heart. It's your blood pressure. It's your kidneys. It's your brain. It's all you. So, no matter who these folks are, harboring all that stuff impacts you, right? So that's why it's important to figure out how you're going to let that go. And usually that comes by means of a therapist. I am not a therapist. I'm not endorsing therapy. I'm just saying that I'm talking about my life. I used to try to talk to people and girlfriends and everything else, and they can only listen and do as much as they can in their life and possibly impart what they know, which may not be the best advice, honey, right? So when you go to a professional, it's not like they fix it, but what they do is they give you tools to help you move on or talk through or listen better, but they give you tools to help you, because it's about you. And so, and I was telling my daughter, I said, people, we were young. It's like asking somebody, like, why did you do that? Why did I do certain things in my 20s? So I don't know. I don't even remember a lot of my 20s. Y'all better stop playing with me. I partied so hard like a rock star. I don't even remember half of it. And I raised my daughter, and I'm still like, yeah, I remember the school play. And I was their child, but excuse me. It just is what it is, right? Young. And, that's why when you have children young, there are pros to it, right? You have them young, get them out the way. You got energy to stay with them, right? And there's some challenges as well, right? So, but anyway, but you have to remember that mother is still growing up herself and learning life. I look back on my life and thought, in my 20s, you could not have told me I had not arrived and I knew it all. Oh, I'm grown. I'm tired of telling people that I'm grown. I know they'd be like, look at this little baby. Because I know when I look at someone 20, I'm like, look at this mess here. Look at this mess right here. They telling me they grown. You and it's like, that's cool and everything. And you find out they ain't even got on an airplane before. You be like, oh yeah, you grown. So I mean, but I joke or whatever, but you're young and you make silly choices. It's almost like I used to compare to my daughter a lot with like younger children or her when she was in her 20s. I would say, when I was trying to tell her things or mentor her about certain things, and I would say, well, what's really crazy to me is that you're not listening to me, because that would be like you telling, if you're 22, that would be like you telling a 4-year old, oh, don't touch the stove, you're going to get burned, because you're going to tell them that because you already know they're going to be burned by the stove because you've lived long enough and seen enough things, but they don't know. But that would be like the 4-year old. Well, I mean, what's going to happen to the 4-year old eventually on that stove? They're going to get burned. So, but it does sound, I told my daughter, but doesn't it almost look silly to you when you're looking at the 4-year old and be like, is something wrong with you? Like, is something wrong with you? Like, I love you and I'm trying to tell you don't do this. I'm really trying to tell you that stove is hot. Is something wrong with you? Go and touch the stove. And I ain't got no band-aids, no ointment, nothing. And we ain't going to the hospital. But I mean, that's what it is, right? That's the same thing. If you take that analogy of someone being 22, 24, whatever, and a 4-year old, it's no different if you're 21 and then it's 50, right? Still looking, going, "Oh, what are you doing?" Um, Now, I heard someone one time say, "Oh, I don't believe in all that age stuff, and makes you smarter and more wiser." Mm. I had to check myself for a minute because I was gonna say something that wasn't right, but there is some silliness to that. Um, because you can even look at a plant and see its maturity days. And so to say that, one say that they don't believe in that, or to say that they believe that they are more mature than someone who's been here long enough, but someone's still asking you to take the trash out, or someone still has to tell you how to put the windshield wiper blades on your car. I mean, there's some things here we have to look at and say, are you serious with this? Now, there may be some experiences that somebody may have had younger that you have not had older, and be like, oh, child, I ain't never been through that. Okay, that's different. That is totally different. Um, in that regard. So, thought my daughter was pulling up. So I share this to say, you have to finding forgiveness for, and I guess you can apply this to anyone, but finding forgiveness in a parent, and you have to apply this in your life. Okay, this is my story. I don't know what the situation may be. It could have been worse. It could have been something very abusive. It could have been something hugely traumatic. I don't know. Every situation is different. Okay, so let's keep that I got my own stuff I'm working out. I got my own family. I am not trying to take on anyone else's stuff except to give you my life story, and then you can take something from it. You hear me? So let's stay right in that vein, right? Because see, honey, I be looking at all these social media accounts, and I be looking at these feeds and the stuff that people be saying, and I'm just like, oh, and that's one reason, like, sometimes I'm just hesitant on even a podcast. I'm like, I don't even have time for this, that level of cruelty. My life is just so wonderful and happy. I don't even want to hear all of that extra stuff. So I just keep jumping back to remind you I'm telling you my story, right? Take what you need from it or don't. um, so you have to let this go because it will keep you up at night. It will have your jaws clenched. You will have other people in relationship, then all of a sudden that which you feel about this other individual will spin off over into that individual because something about them reminds you of the person you pissed off with. There's a lot of dynamics here when it's easier to find out, how do I let this go? Things are a lot different now. When I was coming up, we had to go to a therapist, and we tipped in, honey. I remember going to therapist, and I was my glasses on, and dark glasses all like this around my face, and scarf, and tipping in like, hi, it's Kelly here for my appointment with Doctor because therapy back then was looked upon or frowned upon. And child, you better go to church. Ain't nothing but that but the devil. You better go in there and get yourself right. And you be like, the devil doing all this. So anyway, but now, child, I'm looking at these commercials, and they have people you can on your phone, and you can talk with the therapist. They got self-help books, they got online groups, they got, this podcast, and then there's still great therapy. And so, but it might take a while. You may jump into that first therapist. When I was going to therapy, I used to be like, okay, this has been fun. I've been with you about 6 months, and I said I can probably just go back on the sofa and finish talking to my best girlfriend, and I don't have to get dressed and come all the way here because you ain't doing nothing. You just taking notes and looking at me. And so I left. And then I went to another one, and she was cool too. And then I found this man, and he did not look like me. He was not the same age as me. He was nothing. And he changed my life because he gave me tools. And sometimes he would double over in that chair and laugh with me because, I can tell a story, right? And he would double over, and he would say, this is so unprofessional. He was like, but you were just so funny. But he said to me, Kelly, your laughter and your jokes, that's your mechanism, your tool, that's your safety. And he says, and I will tell you all your days, don't ever let that go. Hold on to that because that is what keeps you. And so I went to therapy so that I can find tools, but also to know I'm okay. I'm okay to feel this way. I'm okay to laugh it off. I'm okay to be angry. And therapy's cool, child. You can go in and tell the people, like, what, I want to strangle her. Like, you have no idea how much I'm just over it. And that's pretty cool. And those are therapists, man. They will tell me why you want to strangle them. But it's pretty cool because it's really freeing. This might been that moment when he said the humor helps me, but nah, I thought it was funny. But anyway, but it feels really, really good to go. So I would really say, find someone that you can talk to besides your friends. They ain't be talking to your friends and stuff. Cause honey, you get to looking at their life, and honey, you still doing better than them, and there's some stuff they need to fix. So don't get to talking to them, child. Don't get to talking to them. Talk to them about other stuff, but do not be talking to them about how to fix yourself. You need somebody that's non-judgmental, someone that has tools, someone that is can listen to you for a whole hour straight regularly and be there for you. Okay. So I say all that to say, find forgiveness. So, I mean, parents were just people. I mean, just people. I mean, you're asking too much. I mean, I had a couple issues with my mom. My mother, flight attendant, and she was always gone. My grandmother raised me, and I didn't have like hateful issues towards her because my child. I had the bomb life with my grandmother. I'm glad my mother did drop me off with her, but anyway, I did love being with my grandparents, right? Um, but it wasn't until just a few years ago, somewhere, yeah, like maybe 3 years ago, 2, 3 years ago, that I finally on a telephone call with her, and whatever happened, but I finally told her how I felt. Like, you just dumped me someplace, and why don't you take me with you? Whatever I said, I don't remember. But she said to me, "Wow, Kelly, I didn't know you felt that way, and I'm so sorry. I did the best for you that I thought was the right thing to do in that time. I had no idea I should have done something different." See that? She never knew how I felt. She never knew. And I never knew why she did what she did. But she was 19. And so she did the best that she thought she could do that was going on in the dynamics of her life right then with my father and her mother and her, whatever was going on in her life at 19 years old. She made the best decision as a 19-year-old for me that she thought. And I'm sure, knowing my grandmother, yeah, she knowing my grandmother, she probably did try to say to her, Dada, what about my baby? What about your baby? But then knowing my grandmother child, she probably was like, yeah, okay, well, yeah, you be safe, 'cause give me this baby. But I'm sure she didn't just let her walk out the door that easy because she loves her daughter. But she was 19 and did the best thing that she could do for me at that time. But it wasn't until I had the conversation with her via telephone, and we she listened. She didn't even have I don't remember her saying anything. I just remember that her saying, "I am so sorry. I truly thought I did the best that I knew what to do in that time." But then now, as I'm older and and with two grandchildren, I'm thinking back and saying I did and made the best decisions I could for my daughter in the time when I was 20, 19, 20, 20. I did the best and made the best decisions. And sure, people were there to give me, well, why are you doing that? Don't go there. And some things I fumbled on, and I was like, well, I got to. I'm going to. Some things I was like, that was the best thing I did. But, going back and saying to someone, gee, I did the best that I could do at 19 or 20. And if you weren't 19 or 20, and if you didn't have your kids until you were 40 and 50, then that's what it is. Or if you didn't have any kids and if someone else is offended, whatever the situation is, right? Heck, I apologize to my dogs. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Did I forget to feed you this morning? I'm so sorry. I had so much on my plate. I am sorry. Now, these dogs probably don't even know what the heck I'm saying, but my apologies start from within. I am so sorry. I was rushing this morning. I forgot to feed you your breakfast. So for dinner, I gave them some extra treats and toppers because I am truly sorry. I don't forget to feed you. Those dogs were just drooling and was like, she feeding us? What's she saying? Because I don't even know what she said. Her mouth was moving. She sounds empathetic, but what? But it was me. It was internal. I'm sorry, right? That's where it starts, internal. Apologizing. I'm sorry. But a lot of times pride gets in the way. And a lot of times ego gets in the way. And then what comes after that is anger, high blood pressure, frustration, and you're stuck. And you probably don't think you're stuck, but you stuck, baby, because you are stuck someplace. I was born in the 70s. You stuck back in a time in the 70s in 2024. That will be considered stuck. Because looking back is a good thing when it's good stuff. Looking back always on something that is not good means you haven't let go, because you can leave the past in the past, and then you can look back at the good and laugh and leave the other stuff in the past. And then eventually you don't even remember it. You do if you want to sit there and ponder on it all day, but you won't remember it because you're looking back either at the good or you're going forward for the better. So that's all I have for you. I hope something that I said today encourages you, blesses you, just makes you laugh. I hope to join you right back here in my new studio that I'm so proud of, to continue sharing my life story for your life story. Thank you so much. Stay safe, be well, be blessed. Kelli Bos.